Sounds good. Got it.
Are you going, Jeff?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing great. Where are you based out of?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, out in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
lovely
it's
Sin
not.
City.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess it kind of lives up to that name, honestly. So, I mean, I can't say it's like a stereotype or anything. Depends, like, where you want to hang out, obviously. And not everybody lives on the strip or anything like that. But pretty much everybody out here, they're gambling, they're drinking. You know what I mean? If you live out here, you live a 24-hour lifestyle. Even if you don't want to, your kids do, so you're gonna have to anyway. Stuff like that.
Nice, nice. It's good to live in a lively city, though. There's plenty of food, and at all times of the day, and you can go out and have fun at any time of the day as well. Yeah,
Yeah, and that to me is the key because, like, yeah, I'm a big fan of staying out as late as possible. Like, if I'm gonna go out, I don't ever want to go home. So, like, yeah, hopefully everything's open. And like when I go on the road, sometimes you go to hang out with people, stuff like that. Their towns close a lot earlier, and you're like, what? It's like 10 o'clock at night. What do you mean we gotta go home? So yeah, like that kind of stuff bums me out. But yeah, so yeah, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. Like, 'cause I don't go out a lot, but when I do go out, I go out as long as possible.
nice.
Uh,
Yeah, and that kind of resonates with me as well because I originate from Mumbai, which is a 24/7 city as well. It's
Okay.
happening at any time of the day or night. But now I live in Sydney, Australia. So
Okay.
yeah, it's very different here. It's very Sydney is a ghost town after 6 p.m. on most days. So yeah, except
That's
Thursdays.
interesting. So,
Yeah,
how long have you lived out there?
I've been here like 8 years now.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
pretty
So you're
much an
used to it now.
Australian. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that goes. Yeah, that like even me, like originally I'm from the other side of the country. I'm from New Jersey, but yeah, I've lived in
Oh,
Vegas the majority of my life now. I'm what 36. I've probably been here, 30 of the years of my life I've spent here, and a few of them not even a few of them, but like one or two I spent in Georgia, Atlanta, which is down south.
yeah.
And so, all different places, and I visited all over the place, stuff like that. But those are the main places I've lived. So, yeah, that's cool.
That's lovely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's great. We've been that's exactly what I wanted to get into. How did you get into comics, and what's your background like, and
Yeah.
yeah,
No, with comic books, it was one of those things where it's like, I don't know, since I was a little kid, I always wanted to make comic books, you know what I mean? You see other people, and I've always wanted to tell stories and stuff like that, but I was never like a great artist or anything. So, but my brother was pretty good. So I always thought like maybe me and him would like collaborate, stuff like that, but he never really kept up with the whole drawing stuff. He became like a personal trainer, like a fitness trainer. So he's not really into the whole art scene anymore. Maybe he draws on it in his free time. I don't really know. He never talks about it if he does. And then yeah, so me personally, I always wanted to like do screenplays. I was writing a lot of screenplays since I was in high school. I wanted to do comedy, like stand-up comedy, but then that just kind of like, I started having seizures and stuff like that. So kind of made it impossible to get around. So I couldn't really do stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? People aren't going to give me a ride to my show, stuff like that. And this was even before Uber was a thing and anything like that, which is cool now. But even that, it's a little expensive, but it's worth it if you're making money. And it's cool, I guess it does help a lot for someone like me who can't drive. It's in a place where the public transportation sucks because Vegas public transportation is garbage. Like, back home, back east, there's some public transportation, even in like California, stuff like that. But out here, the bus system, you'll be lucky if it's on time, stuff like that. And that was pre-pandemic. During the pandemic, I haven't been a big fan of doing anything really.
yeah.
So, how that goes. But yeah, so like okay, so trying to do screenplays, all that kind of stuff. Try to do video games too. Like I got hooked up with some people from THQ, stuff like that. We try to do things, stuff like that. Never really caught on. And then I was sitting around during the pandemic. I had a little extra money and I was reading Sandman. I was actually reading the Sandman. I was at my friend Mariella's house because I was staying with her that month because I had just moved out of where I was living. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, and I had this idea for a while, but it was like I had the money. I'm like, I'm gonna go on Reddit. I'm gonna see if there's like any artists because there was like a comic book collabs subreddit, and so I went on there and I posted, artists hit me up. I got money, whatever. Hit me up with your budgets, blah blah. Blah. But at the same time, I was posting that another guy, an artist named Daniele Aquilani out of Italy, he posted something like, "Oh, I just finished a project with a guy named Ricky Lima out of Canada, and I'm looking for work." So I hit him up other guys were hitting me up and Yeah, man, Danielle, like I seen his stuff and I liked what it was like, the rates were higher, but he had finished work. So I was like, obviously he can do the thing. So I did it with him. And it ended up being like his art ended up being 100 times even better than the portfolio was, like to me anyway. Like
Wow.
when he sent me this stuff, like, cause he was worried about doing colors, stuff like, cause he does all of it. Danielle does everything. He does the lines, the colors, the letters, everything. And at first, he a little worried about the colors, whatever. The colors are amazing. I love his coloring. Like without the
Oh yeah.
colors, it would just be a totally different book. And we have a coloring book out there, so you guys can try it yourselves if you guys think you do better. But yeah, it's fun. But yeah, so Danielle's amazing. And then the lettering was the one thing where it was like some people had some complaints. And then it was basically like, oh, you should space out the letters more. And so I told Danielle that he started spacing out the letters a little bit more, and I haven't heard a complaint since the previews of issue 1. So if there are problems, let me know, guys. But yeah, if there's any mistakes at all, it's usually my problems. Like I didn't tell him to change a letter in a word or something like that, or like in the very first issue, we have fairy spelled 2 different ways, which is my fault because
Yeah.
the in storytelling should be FAERIES, but I also had it one time with the FAIRIES, I think. So I was like, I should have fixed that. And that's on
Yeah.
me. And then another guy pointed out to me that the Fez Knights, their little SWAT gear was spelled wrong. So now I got
Yeah.
to write that into the story about how like they don't even get equipment with the right spelling on it. That's how bad the funding is for them. Because in
Nice.
Fez, because the town of Fez anyway is not a law. It's a lawless town. So like these guys, if they are coming up, they're only coming up now in the story. So that's part of it. But yeah, so overall, I that's what it was, man. I had a little bit of money. I've always wanted to like tell a long form story, and then Danielle was there. It was just kind of like love at first sight, I guess. You know what I mean? Like this guy, it's the best thing that ever happened to me is this kid, man. Like I don't know, we've never met each other. We hardly really even talk outside of work, like emails and stuff like that. But like eventually I would like to go to like Italy and stuff and meet him, or maybe him come here or whatever. But yeah, it would
Yeah.
be pretty cool. I sent him some copies of the comic and stuff, so he has his copies. But I would like to send him more. It's so expensive international shipping, and
Yeah.
it bums me
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I
Yeah, it's
know.
like
Yeah. Thankfully, in Kickstarter, we end up paying for the international shipping, so that's at least that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I tried to offer it on issue number 2, and 2 people backed it for the international shipping. But like I had to put like $25 shipping. Like I feel
Yeah.
it's not right. And so I'm like and I love digital comics. So I'm like hopefully international people are down with that. But I'll figure out a way eventually. Like eventually I'll get someone out there printing. And it'll be easier to ship, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
we'll figure.
I am actually trying to figure out some ways for us to do like drop shipping based on the country. So you can probably like if somebody's from Australia or from Italy, they can select the country and we can like on demand print and send them. The only small downside to that is when you're doing printing, you need a lot of like you need to see the proofs and you need to see the quality of the print and stuff like that, beforehand. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bit tricky.
Yeah, and like when it comes to stuff like that too, it's like I've been getting lucky. Like when it comes to I've only I printed the first issue, the second issue, the coloring books, some stickers, and like everything's come out great so far. Mostly I've only done digital print or proofs, and like it's come out good. I got lucky. I did mix some print for the first issue, and then I started working with the Comix Wellspring for the second issue. Stickers I go with Vinyl Disorder. Coloring book I went back to mix and print. The biggest problem I have with these guys is they don't ship right, man. Like when you go
Yeah.
through Comics Wellspring, they ship it so well. Like it's perfectly bow wrapped. All the corners aren't getting messed up. You go through mix and print, man. Like if you get say like a 250, copies, 50 of them are gonna be messed up, and it's
Oh
like
no, that's not good.
not nah, it sucks. And like yeah, so I'll send people whatever I have at the end. I'm running out of copies, stuff like that. I've never heard one complaint from anybody, but it's like me personally, I know they're collector's items, so it's like it's like oh, a little rough corner, and these people all know all my customers or whatever, readers, whatever you want to call them, just the cool people who actually buy my book. Like, I know they're into the indie comic scene. They know what we're going through, so they're not complainers. I've never heard a complaint ever, but I feel bad. I'm complaining to the people I'm paying to do this for my my readers. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
but
And that's great though, because you do care a lot about the quality of the product and people really appreciate that. So
yeah, I get a lot of compliments. Luckily, like on how fast I fulfill Kickstarter stuff like that. But even like shipping through my website, I got a lot of love through that too. So it's cool. It like keeps you going. You know what I mean? Because like going to the
yeah.
post office, people say it sucks, stuff like that, but I'm lucky because the post office I go to, it's usually pretty dead. So, it's cool. I never had any problems at the post office, really.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
one time I went with 100 something shit. Like after issue two came out, and I had to go ship all of those, man. It was like 600 something dollars shipping, maybe even more counting the international. I don't remember. I have the receipt, but
Yeah.
man, like, and like, I was sitting there. I have this giant like tub, like plastic tub, full of hundreds of boxes. And like the lady's like, this is gonna be the record for me, like the most I've ever done, blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, I bet it is. And like, I was there with my friend and stuff, and even she was like, I'm gonna go to the gas station and go pick up some drinks and stuff while we sit here. I'm like, all right. And like by the time she got back, I still probably had like 20 more to go. And like,
Wow.
it was cool. But yeah, like the lady was cool about it and everything. And I got to do it all in one shot. And so like that's the
Yeah.
big thing. Cause like, the quicker I can send it, the quicker, everybody gets their books, everybody's happy. I feel like I get a weight lifted off my shoulders. It's good.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's extremely important as a Kickstarter creator because or any crowdfunding creator because people actually rely on that and they think that you're a reliable person. Like there's a lot of campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns that don't update people on time or they haven't like people haven't received their copies even after like 6 months or so. Been there, done that, but like it's lovely like people like you who care about people receiving their copies really fast and yeah, that's why they
No,
keep coming back again and again.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I guess a lot of these people, or a lot of creators, these are the people that don't fulfill stuff. Like, they're making us look bad. They're making Kickstarter look bad. They're making crowdfunding look bad. Like, for instance, I tried an Indiegogo campaign because I was like, okay, maybe there's an audience there. You know what I'm saying? I hear a lot of bad things about Indiegogo, but I'll give it a try. So I put Magic Powder up on there. I didn't get one backer, not
Yeah,
one. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And it's like, I only posted a link the day I did it, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to see what they would generate. You know what I'm saying? Because I already have hundreds of readers. You know what I'm saying? I know they're going to come with me, but these people already have the comic book. So I'm like, does Indiegogo have their own audience? Do they? Because if I put something up on Kickstarter and I didn't promote it at all, I guarantee you it would get backers. I don't know how many backers it would get, but it would get a backer. You know what I mean? Like, so whatever's going on with Indiegogo, is it because the comic scene's dead there? Is it because they, shadow ban your comic? I don't know. I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff, but I would
wow.
say Indiegogo is useless at this point for comic creators. And I would not go there. If you have to go there, like Kickstarter won't let you on their platform. Well, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. But
Yeah,
just don't waste your time. Don't even put your name next to their name because it makes you look bad, I think,
wow.
personally. Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah,
I said, unless you have to. Because like I said, like every time I asked, I even put it on you, probably check a month or two ago. I
yeah.
put a poll up. I was like, should I do Indiegogo? And man, the reaction was not positive. So
Now, I have been chatting with a lot of different creators from different places, and some of them had concerns about Kickstarter itself, like going on the blockchain and stuff like that, and they were not really happy with how Indiegogo is working as well. It's also very odd that it's Kickstarter. Indiegogo is like you take whatever you get, and it's not all or nothing. That's kind of odd because sometimes you don't raise, if people don't raise enough to make their project live, then
then
there's
how
no
are they going to
point to
make
it.
the project? Yeah, how are they ever going to
Exactly.
fulfill it? Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I guess that's a positive thought. Like, oh, we gave him half the money, maybe he'll find it somewhere else. But no, that's not really how it works. And
yeah,
sadly, I have some friends on Twitter and stuff like that, who do Kickstarter projects, and sometimes they don't get funded, and they got to reevaluate how they're going to do it and stuff like that. And usually it comes out all right. I've never seen anybody just straight up quit,
yeah,
but I haven't been in the game that long, to be fair, either. So it is
yeah,
what it is. But a lot of these guys out there, even ladies, everything. I think some people underestimate how much of it they got to bring. You know what I mean? Like Kickstarter has never outfunded me on a project. Like
yeah,
when you look at the statistics at the end, you can look at the analytics. Even during the campaign stuff, it says where everybody comes from. Like, oh, this person came from Twitter, this person came from an email, this person came from this. And if you count the people that Kickstarter just generates from themselves, like, and you don't even count like the updates I'm doing on my old Kickstarter campaigns, which they do count as Kickstarter money, which is fine. So if you
yeah,
even count that all you want, at best they're going to put up 30% of your money, and
yeah.
70% of that money needs to come from people you're bringing to
You bring
Kickstarter,
it.
not
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah. for the record, I'm also building a new crowdfunding platform, which is called Comix,
Cool.
as the
Yeah, with
name
the
goes.
X, I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's tailored to the comics, industry or community or whatever you want to call it. And the idea is that we want people to sell, obviously, build an audience with crowdfunding, but also sell the back catalog. Like
Yeah.
how you add issues 1 and 2 as rewards right now. That
Hmm.
shouldn't be the case. Like they're literally your books, and you should be able to sell them whenever you want, not just during your crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the core idea, and there's a lot of things we're building around that. Like there's a good reader because you know RIP Comixology.
Ugh,
you
ugh, yeah, you ain't kidding, man. And as a digital reader, it's like, man, that was a hard
yeah,
hit.
yeah.
But they're
So
annoying. I
yeah,
mean, it's Amazon. I guess what can you do in this world? You
yeah,
can't never rely on freaking billionaire companies and all that stuff. And that's why it's
yeah.
cool that just people like us are out here. Like you're trying, with the comics app, and then like obviously I'm trying to do my own thing. I don't have nobody backing me up other than my team. Like that's it. And then obviously
Exactly.
the backers themselves, and
Yeah.
it's fun. It's freaking nuts out here, man. Like it's the Wild West again. Like it's cool just having like we're pioneering something, even if it's already been people have been making comic books however long, but we're
Yeah.
trying to do it too. And they ain't gonna let us in. Marvel ain't gonna help us here, so we got to do it ourselves.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
and
Tom
that's
McFarlane
that's
ain't hit me up.
really
Not yet, anyway.
not
When
yet.
Tom McFarlane hits me up, maybe we'll talk some business.
Yeah. Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane, if they hit me up, that's yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Even crazy ass Frank Miller ain't even hitting me up. Okay, so no, nobody's hitting us. Kevin Smith now, right? I got my Berserker clerks with him. Kevin Smith, he's gonna do Kevin Smith's do comics, right? He ain't hitting me up, man. Come on, I'm from Jersey. Hit me up,
yeah.
man. But yeah, no, I'm out here alone. That's it. And like you're helping everybody that does podcasts and does reviews and people that like. I have people out here, like even my freaking dental hygienist back my comics. Like, you know what I mean? You got to get anybody you can to just like support the idea, And she's cool too. She's another like entrepreneur. Like she
Yeah.
makes floss that they sell in prisons in America because I guess whatever she makes out of it, it's not deadly enough for the prisoners to kill each other with. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, she has like contracts with prisons to sell this floss. Like, so this lady's the coolest anyway. My dental hygienist.
Wow.
So shout out to her. Look up that stuff. I don't even know the name of the company, so I can't even tell you. So I think it's like a private thing anyway. But yeah, it's dope,
Mm,
man. So the thing
nice.
about crowdfunding is like, you got to find like-minded people, even if they're not like comic book readers. Like I try to make a comic book that even if you don't read comic books, you still want to check out my comic book. You know what I mean? That's the kind of comic book I try to make. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not like, reliant on, oh, I just love superheroes or I just love this. Like it could be a story told in any other form, but it's best told as a comic. So
Yeah, yeah. In fact, like last 4 or 5 months, I've been chatting to so many different creators, and their stories are so very different from each other. Like some of them are monster stories, some of them are stories about, for example, rural Canada and some town in Nova Scotia, or like yeah, they're
yeah.
all like so different from each other. Like this one guy, he wrote this really beautiful comic. I don't know if you know Anas Abdullah. He's
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
yeah
yeah,
he
we follow each other and stuff. Yeah.
yeah
He's
his
actually
his
back Magic Powder and stuff. Yeah, that's my man. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, his
And
book
that's
is
the
so
man, man.
beautiful. It's so beautifully drawn, and the story is amazing. And
Yeah, he actually let me when we did the coloring book, I had an indie comic bundle and he was a part of the bundle. He let me throw him in there for free and stuff. So yeah, he's a
nice.
sweetheart. I love that guy. Like, yeah, I mean his work amazing. Like, yeah, so I have it on my tablet, I look at it sometimes. I love having all the indie, comics on my tablet so I can just, see what everybody's because sometimes, I'll read the comic when I get it, but it's a different story when you're just in the mood to just like I'm about to work on a script or something like that, and I just want to see what other people are doing. So you go back, you see what other people, and then you even see other people evolve. You know what I mean? Like you see like issue number 1 of their series, and you see the issue number 5 of the series, and you're like, man,
Yeah,
they took their game up a notch. You know what I mean? So like you got
no,
to take your game up a notch. You got to always follow that. So it's just
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Just a fun little
Absolutely,
game.
totally, totally, totally agree. Yeah, I for that for the record, I love the world building in Magic Powder. And funny you mentioned that your artist is from Italy because some of the streets they actually look very European. For
Yeah, that's
example,
a. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. No, go
No,
ahead. No, my bad. No, go ahead.
no, the street right outside the Ministry of Sorcery, that street looks right out of Italy, and people riding bicycles. That's so European.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because a big thing to me when I was actually coming up with the idea, which is funny that I found Danielle. So the idea hit me during the pandemic. I'm sitting in the place I'm renting out. So I got a room at my friend Brandon's house. I'm just chilling. I'm watching. You ever heard of Gomorrah? The show Gomorrah?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm watching the show Gomorrah. My dad's been show probably for like a year or something, and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like it's for me, having no idea what it's actually about, you know what I mean? Just the name, I'm like, it kind of sounds like what is going to be, like some weird like sex show or something. I didn't know what it was going to be, and it's basically about, not La Cosa Nostra, but like a whole nother kind of Italian mafia that has basically taken over Italy in real life at this point. And a guy named Roberto Saviano wrote it, and he's a reporter. And originally he wasn't even a reporter; he was just an Italian, and he just kept showing up to all these scenes in Naples and stuff in Scampia. So anyway, Gomorrah, I'm watching Gomorrah, and it's like basically the hardest hitting like international crime show I've ever seen. It's like The Wire for Italy, and I'm watching this show, and I'm like, this is amazing. Fargo season 4 was out at the time. I think that's what made me watch it, because the guy who plays Gennaro was also in Fargo season 4.
yeah,
What's his name? Salvatore Esposito, great actor. He's goofy as hell in Fargo, and you would never believe it was the same guy when you watch Gomorrah. Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, so I want to see more of him in American stuff and Italian stuff. I have a couple movies I need to watch with him from Italy. But anyway, so I'm watching Gomorrah, Fargo, all these things, and I'm GTA, I play video games, and I'm like, man, all the coolest crime stories have already been told on this planet. You know what I mean? We've already done it. We've been there,
Yeah.
done that. Everyone's doing it already. So I'm like, man, I need to make up my own planet to tell crime stories. And that's kind of what happened. And a big part of it too was watching Gomorrah was, it's like the ghetto is built on top of ancient Rome, you know what I mean? Like what was considered like the most beautiful society ever. And now you have these terrible buildings, like the sails are built on top of it. And it's basically like, that's what Fez is supposed to be, is like the old European way. And even before Europe and all that stuff, like ancient freaking Rome. But then, you have drugs and all these things that have, crime and all this just piled on top of this thing. And it's not like knocked down either. They literally just build up, it feels like, you know what I mean? Because like in America, everything's pretty much flat and you just build up on the ground. But in those older countries, it's totally different. And it's just like, so yeah, it's a big thing to me was that feel. And then meeting a guy from Italy 6 months later to do the actual comic book, I just got so lucky. So I was like, Danielle, have
Nice.
you ever seen Gomorrah? And he's like, no. I'm like, it doesn't matter because you live in Italy. So yeah, it is what it is. And as far as the elves riding bikes, the thing with that is like in Elvish society, the only people who have cars are like first responders and stuff like that, because they don't want, it's not a thing really. Like cars aren't a big thing in this world really, and it's not because of gas really, because gas isn't even a thing. They would be running on magic powder and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But it's just more like it's an athletic thing, and it's like those towns are built more like like society is built more of as a communal thing. Like everybody isn't
Right.
just living in a giant city. Everyone kind of knows each other and stuff. Like they're not
Yeah.
overpopulated. Like I wanted this planet to be basically like almost like a perfect planet and still show that there are parts like that are effed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Nice. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's lovely that you start from Thieves. It's called Thieves.
Thez.
Thez.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
it's named after Lou Thez, a professional wrestler, just an old guy.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, yeah, just because like I love wrestling and it's a dope name, and he's like so old school. I feel like he will never have like a terrible scandal come out at this point because he's been dead so long, and he seemed like a great guy and stuff. So I was like
Yeah.
Bruno Sammartino, something like that. Like what I mean? You can't name something after Hulk Hogan. It's like
Yeah.
that's just,
Yeah.
or Ric Flair. It's not called Ric Flair Town. You know what I mean? But like yeah, so there's it also just sounds like a crazy fantasy name. I just thought it was a really cool name. So yeah, like and you're not the first person to ask me how it's pronounced and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
cool. I like that. That's kind of fun of it. It's like it seems like a fake word almost. You know what I mean? Even though
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's a real man's name. So yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Nice.
Thez. Yeah, sorry.
That's lovely. It's
Yeah.
yeah. There's I think I found a couple of other references. I just want to check with you if I found them correct or not. Is
Okay.
is is QT short of Quentin Tarantino?
Oh
Because
yeah.
there's yeah.
Oh yeah. No doubt. And how he dies, you notice that's the
Yeah,
reference? Yeah, like
yeah, exactly.
you know
And
what I
and
mean?
there's also that because that's right out of Reservoir Dogs. And there's one panel where Volta gets introduced, and that's right out of Kill Bill because the whole page spread.
Yeah,
Um,
see, and that's exactly what it was. Because in my mind, I don't know what it was, but that was the first image I ever had in mind. I was like, a dope elf hitman on a plane with a sword. but yeah, it's like it totally is. It's like Uma Thurman on the plane with the
Yeah,
sword when you think about it,
exactly.
right? So like, yeah, it totally is. Like, it's awesome, man. Because that's the thing. It's totally a reference to just everything I love, and like
Yeah,
built it up my own. It's like if my mind was a world. That's kind of what you got here, and it's dark,
nice.
man, but it's
It
fun.
is. It is fun, of course.
But yeah, so you know.
It also breaks the common stereotype that comics are for kids. It's clearly not, right?
Yeah,
There
this
are
is
kids comics, but that's another genre altogether.
yeah, this is I tried to kind of make it as like an answer to Game of Thrones failing, The Sopranos no longer existing, Deadwood, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like people who wanted that kind of thing. Like, because I think when Game of Thrones came out, a lot of people who watched Sopranos and Deadwood were like, I am not gonna watch this effing show. You know what I mean? And then they ended up being like, this is an amazing show. Like, holy crap, you could tell crazy fantasy stories and all this stuff. So now I want to take it a step further with like Lord of the Rings type creatures, Dungeons and Dragons type creatures, and like get people who are like take themselves super seriously and then start reading this kind of stuff like, oh man, following like what an elf is doing and like I'm taking it there. Like, someone like my dad, for instance, would probably be like, I'd never watch Lord of the Rings. Like, he's reading it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
just people
yeah,
I know growing up. And that's another thing too, is I did comics because like I find it hard to get people to read just regular fiction. You know what I mean? Like if I'm writing a book, people will buy my book that I know, but they ain't gonna read it. But if I put out a comic book, it's only like 30 pages, they'll read that.
yeah,
And then,
yeah,
a couple months later, another 30 pages, and then they'll go back, maybe, and then they get hooked. That's how you get someone into reading. You know what I mean? So to me, that was the trick. I kept talking to people who are like, I don't read, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, you sound like an idiot, but I get what you're saying. Like there's no audience anymore. I got you. So I wanted the biggest audience I could come up with. I was like, comic books will do it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I've always wanted to make, TV shows, stuff like that, but that's not within my wheelhouse as one person. So,
yeah, yeah. No, who knows? Maybe one day, but
yeah, if
it's
they hit me up, I would think, Magic Power works best obviously as like an animation, like a cartoon. But if they want to be stupid and try like Cowboy Bebop live action on it, go ahead.
yeah,
Give me
yeah.
that money. Give me that money. I'll even write the scripts for them. Like how Neil Gaiman type. I would try to be a part of like producing it and stuff like that. Whatever. But if they want to try it, they can try it. I don't have
Yeah,
any qualms with that because like
yeah,
if they want to pay
yeah.
me for this, I can make more. That's the whole thing. I want to make as many Magic Powders as possible because we're making a video game right now. I have an idea for a spin-off that I do not want to do anytime soon,
Yeah,
but but I kind of want to do it because I'm like, what if someone else came up with this from seeing Magic Powder? So I'm like, we'll
nice,
figure that out. But yeah, it's like,
nice.
yeah. So we'll see. But I would do that with a different artist, so Danielle could keep doing Magic Powder because like as long as he wants to work with me, I want to work with him. You know what I mean? I would never
Yeah,
switch artists unless he wants to do something else. Like I
yeah.
just love his work. But the first story arc is 6 issues, so hopefully he stays with me at least that long.
Well, Better Call Saul became its own beast, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And even
Yeah,
this though, like this would be like it the characters would never get to meet. It would almost be like a House of the Dragon compared to Game of Thrones, more than a Better
right.
Call Saul
Yeah,
and Breaking Bad, where the universe is so spread out they would never bump into each other. And then
yeah,
Breaking and Better Call Saul the whole time you're like, when are they going to show Jesse? When are they going to show Walt? And eventually they did, But
yeah, yeah,
spoiler alert. But
yeah,
yeah, so man, Better
yeah.
Call Saul. It's one of those shows like I love it and stuff, but people when they tell me it's better than Breaking Bad, I'm like, first of all, it's almost one thing to me, so I don't really think of it like that. But
It's very
I don't.
different to Breaking Bad. It's
Yeah, of
really, really
course.
different. Yeah,
And I think the peaks of Breaking Bad are like some of the greatest things in television history, and I don't think Better Call Saul ever hit that. But maybe like as a consistent level, it might be like more consistent than Breaking Bad. But as far as like storytelling wise, like man, they just blew your mind a few times in Breaking Bad. And I never got my mind blown by Better Call Saul, and I
yeah,
think that's
yeah,
the biggest difference. And obviously, one came before the other, so you're always gonna have that. But man, I remember finding Breaking Bad. I moved to Georgia, and there was nothing going on, and there was like a freaking marathon for the first season before the finale. So I
yeah.
watched all that, and I'm like, this show is freaking amazing. Malcolm in the Middle, like what the f? And it was like, yeah, it was amazing, man. And so by the third season, I was writing for a website called TVOvermind.com,
Right.
and the season finale, I wrote a review of it, and they put me on the commercial, like my quote. So that was super cool, man.
Wow,
Like to this
that's
day, it's still
amazing.
like, yeah, that's like one of the highlights to me because like I just love Breaking Bad so much. So like to have been quoted on a commercial on AMC, I felt like a badass. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
And that was so long ago. Yeah. So now that Magic Powder exists, I have a better highlight to my life. But so God, man. But yeah, so like, yeah, that was just a great show. Did you watch the Better Call Saul finale?
I haven't yet. I have to. I have to catch up on that. Yeah,
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. It was
yeah,
fun, man. Like they got better as it went along. Like I think the
definitely.
problem too with Better Call Saul was I didn't realize it was going to be more about like his family and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready for the Chuck story and stuff like that. Like now when I go back and watch it, I'm cool. You know what I mean? I know what I'm
Yeah,
getting into. But the
yeah,
first time through that first season, it was like the
yeah.
opposite of the Breaking Bad first season. I was like, what
Oh
are
yeah,
they thinking? You know what I mean? The first season of Breaking Bad ends, you're like, holy crap,
yeah.
what's gonna happen? The first episode of Better or first season of Better Call Saul ends, I was like,
It starts pretty
okay.
slow. Yeah,
Yeah, super duper slow, and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
was this a cash grab? What are they doing here? And then, it ends up being great, it's a great
yeah,
show. Like,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I mean, I watched it, it's one of those shows you have to watch the night of, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, cause some shows I'll wait, 6 months and I'll watch it, Some shows I
Yeah,
gotta watch that night so no one spoils it for me and everything.
very true. But
Yeah.
even if you get a Netflix deal, you don't want to get compared to the Netflix movie that came before. No, no, don't talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
The
yeah,
Max Landis one.
yeah. And the thing is, like, I've never watched it because, like, first of all, like you said, just that name alone made me not have anything to do with it. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It's like that's more of like a Shadowrun thing, I feel like. And that's the thing I totally am inspired by. So I can't, like, act like, I came up with guns and orcs or something like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
totally a thing. But, like, my thing is no cyberpunk, no human beings, none of that stuff. So, like, everything, those are two things you'll find in Bright. They got human beings. Shadowrun, it's got human beings and a bunch of cyberpunk stuff. This thing's more of like it's almost like a timeless thing, more so like Batman
Mm,
the Animated Series, where it's like, is this modern day? Is this 1950s gangsters? Like, what is it?
yeah,
So
yeah,
like, yeah, it's not the 90s, it's not the 80s, it's not the 60s, but all these things kind of just mixing in different ways. And
yeah,
maybe there'll even be a little bit of like science fiction stuff, but it won't be cyberpunk. It would be more, so just something a little different. Because I got some like episode 4. I mean, the next issue
yeah.
three's got some crazy machinery stuff, but like, yeah, issue
Nice.
4 I think has a little something that I feel like is a little shadow runny that people will like.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
even that, like, I think about like it would be cool to make like a Magic Powder tabletop game. You know what I mean? Like I see all these other games, and it's like obviously it's inspired heavily by them. So like it'd be cool to make my
Yeah.
own system and stuff like that. So one day maybe, because like we're doing the video game, I just want to like see Magic Powder to me is like my Star Wars to George Lucas. You know what I mean? Like it's something I want to do for the rest of my life. Like even if I'm making other stuff, like I feel like Magic Powder just has that room where I just want to keep playing in it. And I don't want to just keep going back to Tatooine or Thez or anything like that either. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I want to
yeah,
explore the whole world.
yeah.
And I got plans. It's planned out pretty big. Ooh, excuse me, but yeah, it's
That's
planned out
okay.
pretty big. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm
No,
excited.
yeah, it sounds super exciting to be honest. Like, and I think the world has endless possibilities, right? The world that you're building has a lot of possibilities. Especially like first two issues have so many different characters, and these characters come from different walks of life. They're different. They're in different locations, and that itself opens a lot of doors to new possibilities, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And it's like, man, it's like, because the thing is, like, I have a lot of it planned out. I have like an entire like accordion folder of just total notes and notes and stuff. I have this little notebook right here, like that I fill in stuff all the time. And it's like I
yeah.
got the notes on the actual computer, everything like that, the scripting, all these things. And it's like I still like while I'm scripting, I'll come up with another cool idea, or I'll come up with you know what I mean? It's like it's endless. Like I can't imagine running out of ideas for it. I just am worried about running out of, people's interest. That's what you got to worry about. So like, got to keep
No,
them.
you keep making good stories, the people will not run out of the interest. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's the thing is like like right now, like you said, like noticing the Easter eggs, like the fact that you notice those things, like that makes me so happy, man. Like you're like, is that what QT means? Like, yes, it is. Like, hell, yes, it is. Like it just makes me super happy because my sister, she makes the graphics that are like like the back pages. She puts the logo on the cover. She made the logo,
nice.
stuff like that. She does the thank you page. She does all everything that's not the actual comic art. Basically Raven does all that stuff, like anything graphic wise. So like, yeah, she asked me about like, what are we gonna name, or I don't even know if she asked me the name, but when I sent the name, she got it. You know what I mean? She got it real fast. So I was like, that's cool. So and like I
Nice.
love that little thing. I don't know if people have that in their comics. I've never seen it before, but like the rest in peace page on the back, like I just I came up
Yeah,
with that one day, and like I'm glad I came up with it for
it's
the
such a
first
good
issue, so I
idea.
can like it's just it's cool, man. Like and I never like right now is the first time I'm really like it's dawning on me how much fun of an idea it is.
Yeah,
But now I
yeah.
got to worry about like is it ever going to be blank?
That's a
I
good,
don't know.
good teaser.
Find out next issue. But yeah.
Yeah.
Haha.
We're closing it on time, but before we go, do you want to mention something, tease something about issue 3, what people must expect from it, you know?
Yeah, I would say this is the issue where all the worlds start colliding. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, the first two issues, it's kind of like setting up in a way where it's like, what is going on? And I think in the third issue, it's starting to come together. You're like, okay, they're figuring it out. You know what I mean? It's not, they're gonna finally talk it out. You know what I mean? Because what happens, I feel like in a lot of stories is the conflict comes from never talking it out. So they're gonna resolve what conflict is already happening and get to the next conflict in the third issue.
Nice, nice. I'm super looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited because, like, I haven't even gotten all the pages yet. Right now, Danielle's doing page 9 out of 21 of the story pages, and yeah, man, I get excited every single time. And sometimes, I have to ask for little changes and stuff like that. And even then, it's kind of cool because then I have like the other versions of it, so that's always fun. But
Yeah,
yeah, he's just usually I don't have to do anything, especially if I write the script well enough. He doesn't even have to think about it. So I even
yeah,
went back and like rewrote this script a little bit to make it more detailed for him and stuff. But he's so good, man. Like a lot of the
awesome.
stuff you'll see is background details that he just makes up himself. You know what I mean? Like I don't
That's
write the
awesome. That's
yeah, like
awesome.
like you'll see like graffiti and stuff like that, and it's like that's on him. Like he makes all that kind of stuff up. Even like the issue, like the very first page of issue 3, you'll see like even the Magic Powder pre-launch page right now. It says Magic Powder on Kickstarter. That's page 1 of issue 3. And you see Breaker, the skateboarding goblin guy, just kind of chilling, and the room is a mess.
Yeah,
So that's all I said is like I don't even know exactly how I detailed it, but everything he put on that floor, dirty socks, broken bongs, pipes like
so
that.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, if I wrote that, I don't. Okay, cool,
cool. We're back.
perfect. But yeah, so basically, like I was saying though, like yeah, Danielle does all of these crazy background additions, and I've seen people talk about like Walking Dead changed artists because basically the guy took too long because he was doing so much details with the backgrounds and stuff like that. And that's the thing, like I'll never rush Danielle ever. You know what I mean? If it takes us 50 years to do 100 issues, then that's how long it takes. Like I don't care. I'm not in no rush because I
Yeah,
can write other things and do other comic books. So it is what it is. Like I don't need Danielle to do everything. He just needs to do it. But like I said, I don't know how long he even wants to do it. Honestly, like I know he's
yeah,
down to keep doing it right now, but eventually he's gonna probably be like, I'm sick of this. Or maybe he thinks like I think, and he's like, I love creating this world. I don't know. Maybe he feels the same. That's the
yeah,
thing about like working with somebody from a different country that you hardly ever like talk to. Like I don't really know his mindset as far as that
yeah,
goes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he keeps
No,
me
but
on my
that's
toes.
yeah, but that's lovely because adding those fine details, those extra details, they make the world look lived in, and that's what makes it like relatable to whoever's reading it. Yeah, that's the touch you need.
No, and like you say, like relatable wise, like I remember the first time I posted that, you know, page 3 or issue 3, page 1, and everyone's like, "Hey, that looks like my bedroom. That looks like my bedroom." You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, exactly, bro. Like, it's totally relatable. We're all a bunch of slobs, like, yeah. So yeah, it's awesome. We've all
True.
seen that room. We've all had a friend like we played N64 at their house that looked like that or something. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it
Yeah,
is. But like, yeah. So when he said that, like, or like when you say that, and like all those people related to it, like, yeah, it's so true. Like, he just
yeah,
like you can tell he's just a great artist. Like, it's crazy. Like, even like little details about like making a gun, for instance, or making like a like little wooden like supports for a hole or something like that. Like, just all these things that like, you have to know if you were a person in that world, and he just he's there making it. I don't have to even write these things down 99% of the time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just crazy. Like he's I don't know. Like I see people say like, "Oh, I pay my artists so they're not a co-creator or something like that." And it's like, yeah, he's a big time co-creator on my
Oh, of
comic.
course.
You know what I mean?
Their
Like,
their work defines your work as well, right? So
yeah, I tell completely. Like, I
yeah,
would have no comic book without him. Like, that's
yeah,
that. And if I would have picked one of these other artists that I like met online, like it wouldn't have caught on like it caught on. Like, because this guy just this is it. Like he gets it. Like I said, I mean, he's from the world that I wanted it to be. So it's cool. I think we have a good thing going.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. And
yeah, it's fun.
when that perfect synergy happens, that's the best. I worked on a comic a while back. I think that was 2017. I had only one Kickstarter, and I worked with this artist from Nigeria. He was fantastic. Like he was a student, but he wanted to make some cash on the side. But his style was so like my style of writing is very freestyle. I let my ideas flow a lot, and his style was very loose as well, which I loved. It kind of
Okay,
reflected in the comic as well.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean the guy that I work with on the covers is Samuel Owunzi, and yeah, he's straight out of Nigeria too. And
nice.
man, that guy, you want to talk about detail? Oof, he puts as far as like background detail, that's like Danielle's thing, and then like Sam is like every single thread of a piece of clothing. Like he's like that
Wow.
detailed. He's like a magnifying glass. So I got one guy putting up the walls, and then I got the other guy, putting down the little textile and stuff. So like, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And that's the thing. Like, I think their art is totally different. And so like, if someone sees the cover, they might expect that to be what's on the inside. But to me, I want Sam to be like capturing the mood of the issue, not so much the art of the issue, because the art's in there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So when it comes to Sam, I just want him to just like, I want it to almost look like I don't know, like a fine piece of art, you know what I mean? Like a painting or something like, and he's got that. Like his details amazing. So I mean,
Nice.
I'm sure you've seen the covers. And then I have Matt Harding who also does he did the variant cover on issue 2. And then if we get to a stretch goal on issue 3, he'll be doing the variant cover again. And I think we have a chance at hitting that stretch goal. So that'll be
Nice.
cool. He agreed to do it. So yeah, that'll be cool. And his style is more like I would say it's more of like a blend of both. Because like yeah, he's not doing it, but it captures more of what's inside the book. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see even because I don't even know what the variant cover will be yet until we get there because I don't want to plan ahead. I'm not one of those count them chickens before they hatch
Yeah.
types. But yeah,
Awesome. No, great having you here, Jeff. It was amazing. Um and all the best for issue 3 of Magic Powder. And I hope you make issue 100 as well.
thanks, man. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. This has been fun.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, thanks for reading it, everything, just the shout outs, everything, man. Like, I hope everything goes well with your app too. Like, I hope all the like, cause like, I like the idea, like, we are Zoop, and I like crowdfunder and everything like that. Cause like you said, like Indiegogo, and then even Kickstarter, people they don't want to work with these guys, so I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just like right now trying to build an audience to the point where I'm gonna go wherever the biggest one is. But I mean, that's how it is. Like if I had a choice, that's I would just start my own, I guess. You know what I mean? But I ain't that big. I can't just crowdfund it off my website. So
Yeah.
I don't have it like that yet. Maybe I'll make a famous friend one day. You know what I mean? That's the real thing. I'm trying to get like a famous person on Twitter to read my comic, and then it's over, right? Like, isn't that how it goes? I just need that. So,
Yeah. Get Keanu. Get Keanu.
yeah, that's right. I mean, he's already making his. There's another guy making his own comics that hasn't hit me up. But
Yeah.
you know what happened today? I had tweeted about the Detectorists, which is a show on BBC, and and nobody really even responded to my tweets or whatever. And then today, one of the actors actually like liked both my tweets about it. So then I followed him, and he don't even have a big following or nothing like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe young Hugh from the Detectorists will be the biggest Magic Powder fan. So yeah, I'm pretty
Nice.
excited about that. Yeah, so we'll see what happens, man. It's hard out here to get somebody to read your comics, but I'm thinking like I'll find somebody like, hey, Robert Downey Jr., what are you up to, dog? I'm trying to think like who would actually even, want to read it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna sneak it in. I'm gonna go see Roger Waters in October. I'll go sneak it to him, man. The guy from Pink
Yeah.
Floyd. So we'll see what he says.
All you need is just one retweet, you know?
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah.
I used to do a thing called toy spotting, and it would be about like going around, collecting toys and stuff like that, and seeing people's toy collections. And it was based off of train spotting. That was the joke. And everybody's addicted to toy spot. So anyway, yeah, Paul Heyman, the guy who's always like on wrestling with like Brock Lesnar and stuff like that, man, he would retweet my stuff all the time. He had like
Yeah.
500,000 followers, all this stuff. So I would get blown up just from that, man. I just put like,
Nice.
a little Paul Heyman toy on something and boom, he'd retweet that shit for me in 2 seconds. So yeah, like it's crazy. So certain guys
Yeah.
out there, like they'll put you over.
Oh
but you
yeah,
gotta
oh yeah.
just, you gotta have what they want, but
True, true.
I
You
don't
know, there's
know.
like an indie rock band from Sydney called
Hmm.
Middle Kids, and
Okay.
they put out a video on YouTube, and apparently Elton John retweeted it, and they got shows from everywhere in the world. Like just right after that, like they got booked for next 2 years straight.
And that's what it takes, man. Like
Yeah,
imagine Kickstarter issue 3, I go live September 5th or whatever. So imagine that happens, and then freaking Todd McFarlane, for instance, or something retweets it, right?
yeah,
I guarantee you that would be like 10,000 backers
yeah,
just from
yeah,
that. You know what I mean? Or maybe not 10,000. Let's not get crazy, but I bet it would at least be double what I would get normally, like a couple hundred. So it'd be another couple hundred. I mean, just that little endorsement, yeah, that'll put you
yeah,
over, man.
yeah.
Just takes the right person, whether or not, it doesn't even have to be a person you like. As long as other people like them, who cares?
Absolutely.
I'll like anybody that likes my comic book. That's pretty much how
Yeah,
I feel about it. So,
yeah.
it, you know, so.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the other thing, the guerrilla marketing of getting someone to retweet you, or it's like how a video game needs like a big streamer to stream their game. So,
Yeah,
well, let's see. That's how you break through.
yeah,
But
absolutely. Next thing you know, you're writing for Marvel, huh?
yeah, exactly. That's the dream right there. I don't know, because like to me, the dream of writing for Marvel or DC, it's like I don't really care about like, oh, I get to write some fan fiction for Batman or something. Like that's cool. Don't get me wrong, that'd be dope. Like, oh, I did it. But it's more just like, man, they're really gonna pay me to write a comic book.
Yeah,
Like that's fucking nuts.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll
And
take
like,
that any day.
and for like, if you get to like a mid-sized publisher like Image Comics or Boom, who knows? They might even pick up Magic Powder as an original story, and then just adopt that whole
Yeah.
catalog. Who knows that?
Yeah, and it's like, that'd be cool too. Like, it's like, I don't know. I've talked to one small publisher about it, and they weren't really offering anything that I couldn't do on my own. I felt like, you know what I mean? So I think a big part of the whole comic thing is you have to. Sorry, like my internet just went out on my other computer.
That's all right.
But basically, like the thing is, you have to promote, right? So a lot of these comic books I see coming out, like I feel like the publishers don't even promote it. Like I see the writers and the artists, everybody else doing the promotions, and I'm like, so what are we paying these guys for? You know what I mean? To print some comics? Like I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I
store
think
them.
mid to big size publishers, the biggest thing is distribution. So they're able to distribute to like comic book shops, like the real comic book shops.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah, that's the big USP because those people they order like catalogs directly from the publishers. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's the hard bit. Like if I
but
want to read your books in Australia and I want to buy all the back issues and stuff like that, it's
no, and that's the biggest part is right. It's the worldwide distribution because I could do that
yeah,
all in America my damn self, but
yeah,
when it comes to worldwide, not at all. And
yeah,
it's like but the thing is, like, say, okay, the comic book shops, you're on their little book or whatever, but like, even if they buy 2 copies of your book, is anyone coming to read it? You know what I mean? Like, I want to
mm,
be promoted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise, what's the point? Like, if you're not doing my commercials for me, because it's a pain in the ass doing all those promotions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is fun, me and you talking here, but like, man, sometimes I'll be on Twitter just, hey, man, can I get a backer?
yeah,
Like, that's not
yeah,
nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to
yeah,
tweet that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like Neil Gaiman was never like, hey, will one person buy my comic? Like that never had
yeah,
to happen, because like
yeah,
DC or Vertigo or whatever, they're putting them over. But
yeah,
Watchmen with Alan Moore, like yes, I don't know, but that's the real dream is to not have to be the damn commercial. Because like, I'll do everything
absolutely.
else, but man, even
That
going on
that
like
bit
I
is
said,
hard.
yeah, it's so
Yeah,
much work, man, and that's
yeah,
what I guess that's why I guess it's doing better. Like right now, what do we have? 179, I think, backer or followers before launch. Like my last pre-launch was 84,
right.
so we have over double that. So that's pretty cool. I'm
Yeah,
pretty excited. So I'm just hoping, like the numbers just keep going up. That's all I'm trying to do. Keep getting numbers up, because that means I'm doing something right.
yeah,
So just trying to keep it alive.
nice. Yeah. So yeah, I'll take a leave now, and I wish you all the best for your campaign. And
Hey
yeah,
man, thank you for having me on, and yeah, thanks for reading it, thanks for everything. So thank you
yeah,
guys, and like I said, it's on Kickstarter. Pre-launch is live. We go live 9/5 September 5th.
awesome. See you then.
Later.